So we stream this so others who can't make it here can be here also. And usually before following the practice of our founder spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, there's a certain song we sing. It's called Jaya Radha Madhava. It's a nice song. All these songs are probably in the Sanskrit language, but so you may not understand the words, but you can still hear it. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Chanda Ballava Girivaradhari Gopi Chanda Ballava Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. Read the Srimad-bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Screen's on, right? Okay, so we are reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam, 8th Canto, Chapter 7, text 32, 33. This is 32 on the screen. Which has a very short purport. And the chapter is called Lord Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. Okay. So, is this your first time to the temple? Anywhere? Okay. So the Srimad-bhagavatam class is a very, very important part of our regular program. What we do is all supported by our philosophy, and the philosophy is largely in the Srimad-bhagavatam. So every morning we have a class, Srimad-bhagavatam. Well, 2 days a week we have it as a different book. But anyway, this is most every day the class is specifically in Srimad-bhagavatam. These are ancient histories that were recorded to teach us different lessons, how to help us ultimately to become Krishna conscious, or to develop pure love of God. So this is so we're in a chapter right now entitled Lord Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. This is I can't go through the whole history of up to here this point, otherwise that'll be the end of the class. But we start off by chanting the Sanskrit verse. I'll chant, and each line after I chant, then you can all, looking up at the screen, you can try to follow it, and then each one of us, each one of you, can chant on your own, and then we'll respond to that. You can also try if you want. Okay? Kama dwara tripura kala garyan aneka Bhuta druha Krishapat yata stutayena tate Yastvanta kala idam atma kritang swanetra Vani spurlinga shikhaya pasitang na veda Actually, it's the same rhythm as the Brahma Samhita verses. Just see. So it's easier. Kama dvara tripura kala garajaneka Bhuta druha shapadyata stutayena tate Yastvanta kala idam atma kritang swanetra Vani spulinga shikaya vasitang naveda Kama dvara tripura kala garajaneka Bhuta druha chapat Bhuta druha chapayata stutayena tate Yastvanta idam atma kritang swanetra. Vani spulinga shikaya basitang naveda. Kama dwara tripura kala gara janeka. Bhuta druha kshapatyata stutayena tate. Yastvanta kala idam atma kritang swanetra. Vani spulinga shikaya basitang naveda. Kama dwara tripura kala gara janeka. Bhuta druha kshapatyata stutayena tate. Yastvanta kala idam atma kritang swanetra. Vani spulinga shikaya basitang naveda. Kama dvara tripura kala gara janeka. Bhuta druha kshapatyata stutayena tate. Yastvanta kala idam atma kritang swanetra. Vani spulinga shikaya basitang naveda. Can you try? Kama dvara tripura kala gara janeka. Bhuta druha shikvataya sutayena tate. Yastvanta kala idam atma kritang swanetra. Vani spulinga shikaya basitang naveda. Okay. Now, okay. So the way these books are written is they're very, very authorized. This is not just like it's not like a novel or something. That's something that comes out of someone's mind. The books originally are given. The knowledge is originally given by God Himself, and then but in Sanskrit. So we don't really. I don't think here speaks Spanish, speaks Sanskrit, so that we can pronounce the verses like we were just doing. There's this transliteration, so it's put in letters that we can chant, and then those words are each of those words one by one are translated, and then there's a English translation. And most of the verses have a purport, an explanation also, which we'll go over. So now is the word for word synonyms. Kama atwara, sacrifices for sense gratification. Like Daksha Yagya, the sacrifice performed by Daksha. Tripura, the demon named Tripurasura. Kalagara, Adi, and others. Aneka, many. Bhuta Druha, who are meant for giving trouble to the living entities. Shapayata, being engaged in their destruction. Stutaye, your prayer. Na, not. Tat, that. Te, speaking to you. Yatu, because. Antakale, at the time of annihilation. Idam, in this material world. Atma kritam, done by yourself. Swanetra, by your eyes. Vani spurlinga shikaya, by the sparks of fire. Basitam, burned to ashes. Naveda, I do not know how it is happening. And then the translation. When annihilation is performed by the flames and sparks emanating from your eyes, the entire creation is burned to ashes. Nonetheless, you do not know how this is happening. What then is to be said of your destroying the Daksha Yagya, Tripur Asura, and the Kalakuta poison? Such activities cannot be subject matters for prayers offered to you. Okay, so there's a very short purport here. So the purport's.
Who's speaking?
I know they're speaking to Lord Shiva. Who was last speaking here? The last says the Prajapati said. So, and they're speaking to, praying to Lord Shiva, Prajapatis. Probably Lord Brahma on behalf of everyone, of the demigods. Yeah. Huh? They're speaking to Lord Shiva, yes. Yeah, they're referring to Lord Shiva in this verse. Purport. Since Lord Shiva considers the great acts he performs to be very unimportant, what was to be said of counteracting the strong poison produced by the churning? The demigods indirectly prayed the Lord Shiva counteract the Kalakuta poison which was spreading throughout the universe. I'll speak on this, but I'd also mentioned that we were doing 32 and 33. So let me just read the translation for 32 and also a short purport, and then we'll speak. 33 translation. Exalted, self-satisfied persons who preach to the entire world think of your lotus feet constantly within their hearts. However, when persons who do not know your austerity see you moving with Uma, they misunderstand you to be lusty, or when they see you wandering in the crematorium, they mistakenly think of you, think that you are ferocious and envious. Certainly they are shameless. They cannot understand your activities. So they're speaking to Lord Shiva, and there's a purport here. Purport: Lord Shiva is the topmost Vaishnava, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. It is therefore said, Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigye Na Bhujaya. Even the most intelligent person cannot understand what a Vaishnava like Lord Shiva is doing or how he is acting. Those who are conquered by lusty desires and anger cannot estimate the glories of Lord Shiva, whose position is always transcendental. In all the activities associated with lusty desires, Lord Shiva is an implement of Atma Brahma. Ordinary persons, therefore, should not try to understand Lord Shiva and his activities. One who tries to criticize the activities of Lord Shiva is shameless. Om Ajnana Timiranda Shagana Jana Shalakaya Chakshur Unminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, so we will find, if you study the Srimad-bhagavatam, there's a lot of very unusual histories. And the Srimad-bhagavatam is about histories that are not just on this planet. In fact, this is what we're reading about here is not on this planet. There actually is life and activities on all over the universe, by the way, and so we on the higher planets, there are different levels of planets. Where Earth is a middle planet. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, actually it is the seventh level. Okay, so you know a little something. Yeah, so seventh level. There's 14 levels of planetary systems. So, Earth is in the seventh level. And so way above that, there's a planet, which is actually a spiritual planet, called Shweta-dweep, where within this universe, where Lord Vishnu resides. This is one form of Vishnu called Kshirodakshai Vishnu. He's the same Vishnu form that is in our heart as a super soul, but he's also there. And when the demigods, the controlling demigods, the higher planets, when they have big problems in the universe, then they go to Lord Vishnu. They can't work it out themselves. They have to go to Lord Vishnu. And so there's always conflict between the demigods, the devotees, and the demons in the universe. And so there was such a problem when this history was taking place. And so they had gone to Lord Vishnu. They had offered many prayers, and Lord Vishnu had advised them that, okay, right now the demons are in a stronger position, so better you make a truce with them, and you work with them, because you cannot defeat them at this point. So he said like that, and then he advised, Lord Vishnu advised that when you go to the demigods should go to the demons and propose that churning the milk ocean. Okay, so there's on that planet where Lord Vishnu is, there's an ocean which is actually milk. It's actually made of milk. Huh? Milk and honey? Yeah, sort of like that. Yeah, it's a very nice place. We can't go there ourselves right now, but the ocean is actually made of milk, and so he advised that the demigods and the demons cooperate, and they churn this ocean. Just like you churn butter, like a butter churn. So you can churn the ocean, and certain things would come out of this ocean. What they really wanted was something called nectar, which increases the duration of life a lot. But the first thing that would come out was poison. That's the chapter we're in right now. So, and they're actually using you can imagine how big an ocean is, even on this planet, and there it's much bigger. So they're using a mountain called Mandara Mountain as a churning rod. Here we have a little wooden thing churning, for churning butter. But there they have a whole mountain, because this is a very big program. And so the churning rod, and of course the churning rod. This mountain, if you put a mountain on a liquid, it just sinks, right? So, and they already had that problem. So the Lord Vishnu, he one of his incarnations, it's called Kurma. It's a tortoise incarnation. He's huge. He agreed to be there on the surface of the water and let them put the mountain on top of his back. It was described in a previous verse that this incarnation is his body, his shell, a turtle shell, is 800,000 miles wide. So you can imagine how big the ocean is and how big the planet is. Okay, so he's there. He's holding, so the incarnation of the Lord is holding the mountain. And the Lord is incarnating in another form on top of the mountain to help balance it as they're going back and forth. And they're actually using a big snake instead of a rope for turning. So there's a lot of details that go with this, but everyone else here is familiar with the story, so I don't want to go into too much just at the moment. So they started churning the ocean, and the first thing that came out of it was this really deadly poison. It was going to go everywhere. It would have gone everywhere, and it would have basically killed everyone in the universe. So that would have been a problem. So the demigods went to Lord Shiva, who's an extraordinary personality, and asking him if he would to help in this way. And well, actually, that's where we're at this point. So Srila Prabhupada is, and Lord Shiva, even though he's one hand he's known as the greatest devotee of Krishna. He's special, but he's also an expansion of Vishnu, dealing directly with the material world. So this is Lord Shiva, and nobody, Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport that no one can understand the nature and the activities of such a pure Vaishnava. It's not just the Lord Shiva and that he is doing these things, which no one can understand. We have, well, I can't give a lot of time on this, but we have a long history. We went over hundreds of years, how our philosophy was gradually went from. It's hard to summarize this. Anyway, we'll just leave it at that at this point. There are histories of how the Vaishnavas or pure Vaishnavas who are pure devotees of Krishna, they did extraordinary things, the things which people maybe couldn't understand, but they knew the higher purpose. I can give more details, but we have limited time for the class, so we'll have to do that another time. But in any case, no one can understand these activities. Like Lord Shiva says, yes, so Lord Shiva is pure, and he's very, very renounced. And so, but he can, if someone sees him, if someone actually can see Lord Shiva, and they see him with, it says Uma. Uma is his name of one of the names of his wife. So Lord Shiva has he may appear that he's in there's a lusty relationship, but he's completely transcendental to this such thoughts. So it's just mentioning here that he has his reason for doing what he does, but we should understand that he's not some ordinary person. The same thing, Lord Shiva is known to be surrounded by ghosts and goblins and hobgoblins. Hobgoblin is a part goblin. These kind of creatures. So he's surrounded by such entities who are, themselves are considered very low class. So one would think, if they saw Lord Shiva surrounded by such personalities, that they think, oh, he's really a low class person. But he's not. Lord Shiva, we were discussing the other day, Lord Shiva has one of his functions. He's always trying to help others become Krishna conscious. So some people, some souls have, many souls actually, have been forced to take very low births in a ghostly form, which is very unfortunate. But Lord Shiva, he doesn't neglect such people. If they work with him, if they assist him, then Jashishi Gordata, Shishi Radha, Braja Vihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Lord Shrigade, Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. But anyway, Lord Shiva takes these personalities, the ghost, and sometimes we won't go into the details of it this class, but when he sees an opportunity, he will give those ghosts. Ghost just means the living entity has a subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego, and there's no gross body. Which is a very difficult situation. So Lord Shiva, sometimes he'll give an opportunity for someone in that condition of life to again get a gross material body. They take a human birth, which means because a ghost cannot on their own, can't do much of anything on their own, and they definitely cannot take up spiritual life on their own. They can't get out of that situation by themselves. So Lord Shiva helps, and he'll put somebody who's in that condition give them a chance to take an actual human body, a human birth, and as a human being, then they have a chance again to do something in terms of spiritual life, Krishna consciousness. So, but if someone sees him with these kind of ghostly personalities, they'll think he's really, he's just one of them, But in reality, he's transcendental to all of them, and he's just there to try to help them. So that's one of the points that's made here. And then, of course, we have we have within our, we're talking about pure devotees, Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava can do extraordinary things, can be empowered to do extraordinary things. So we have, within our lifetime, our Srila Prabhupada, his Murti form, his worshipable, I would say statue, worshipable form. Yeah. Yeah, you can't say. Yeah, he's actually. So he's, but he's a worshipable form. He's our founder, Acharya. Means he started this Hare Krishna movement, ISKCON, and he taught by example. He taught by his words, which are mostly in his books and his letters and lectures, and so on. He gave. So he gave us like that, and he preached, and he did what he did, the preaching. What he did in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement, he did things which ordinary people, certainly us ordinary people, cannot do. We're not so able. So Srila Prabhupada he traveled across the ocean in a ship, very difficult trip across the ocean in 1965, and he came to America. He didn't have any money. He had some truckloads of books, the first 3 volumes of the Srimad-bhagavatam. There's about 18 volumes like this, but it would have been 3 volumes, which would be the first canto. So he came with that and no money, and he just started, preaching and chanting Hare Krishna and preaching, and gradually over time, over a year or so, some people started becoming interested and started coming and hearing from him and joining in the chanting and actually taking up the path of Krishna consciousness. But over a period of, from that point, about 12 years after arriving in America, he had traveled all over the whole world many times. I think about 14 times around the world. It means like hundreds of stops along the way. He would usually stay somewhere for about 2 or 3 days, and to go to the next place. And at the same time, continued writing these books, and preaching, and Srila Prabhupada would write so many letters to his disciples and others that preaching Krishna consciousness. I know in the end he was writing maybe 25 letters a day. He was to giving guidance about Krishna consciousness. So what Srila Prabhupada did is way beyond what any of us could do. Even this constant traveling, we take one trip and we have to take one long trip, and it'll take us probably a few days to kind of get back on in sync with get off the jet lag and everything. So the Srila Prabhupada, I'm sure he was tired, very tired, but he constantly traveled like that, and had a very, very, very busy schedule, and hardly ate or slept, like that. So there's so many things we can say about Srila Prabhupada, but he's one example of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava means a devotee of Krishna or Vishnu, and he's one such example within our experience, personal experience, and he's and if one can get the association or follow the instructions and guidance of such a devotee, then we can become Krishna conscious. So Srila Prabhupada personally he's not physically present now, but we have his books, we have the teachings, his teachings that are still going on through his disciples and grand disciples now. who are guiding us how to become Krishna conscious, and the process continues to work. The process works. It's not that. See, this knowledge is, I said at the beginning, this knowledge originally comes from God, and it comes down through a line of disciplic succession, a line of Spirit Krishna to a pure devotee disciple, to his disciple, to his disciple, like that. It's been handed down, and the knowledge remains intact. The value and the potency of that knowledge is not lost, because it's being passed down by word, and it's also being passed down by example. You don't just talk about it and then live something different. The acharya, what are the qualifications of acharya? Okay, everyone knows these. Acharya, first qualification, he's received the knowledge from the disciplic succession through the line of spiritual masters to disciples. Second qualification is that he is teaching what he has heard from that proper source. And the third qualification is that he is teaching by example. He's showing the proper example. He's not just talking and doing something different. So those three qualifications, one becomes an acharya. So if this knowledge is handed down from one acharya to the next, the knowledge will remain intact, the potency will be there, and we can become Krishna conscious even thousands and tens of thousands of years later. If the knowledge is kept like that, then we can become Krishna conscious by these activities. I've only got 3 minutes here. Any questions, comments?
I don't know if we passed it or we're coming to the point. I was just trying to remember when Shiva drank the poison, he held it in his throat, right?
Yeah.
Or did he?
Well, we haven't gotten to it yet.
So it's coming.
It's just coming. Probably this chapter.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it hasn't mentioned yet. They're just demigods, and these verses today are asking, or at least hinting at, please help us with this problem, because he was the only one who could help. The Lord Vishnu could help, but Lord Shiva is going to be doing this. So we will find out before the end of the chapter, which is only a few more verses. So stay tuned for same time, same temple room. Any other questions or comments? Yeah? No? That's okay. Okay, so no more questions? Oh, before I turn off, let me make sure. No comments. So we'll end here today. Tomorrow we have the Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. It's another very important book. So we'll read from Chaitanya Charitamrita tomorrow. We're still in the first chapter of the Adi Lila. And then anyway, go by that. But every day there's a class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.